Hi guys, in this video I thought what we could do is we could cover three tips a lot of the pros use to improve our photography. So I've come out to this field. It's not that exciting, but we're going to implement those three tips. That's what we're going to do in this video. Yeah. Okay, the first tip number one, is focal length. Think about what lens we're using. Now when we're out doing these sort of landscapey shots, we tend to think, out of breath, we tend to think we need a really wide angle lens. And in some cases that's true. I had quite a wide lens, 14 to 22 or something like that. Quite wide, and it's quite good. But there's a lot of space. If I bring us round, excuse me, if I bring us round here, not a very good tripod I'm afraid. Well, we can see there's quite a lot of space below here and a lot of sky here on this camera view. It's quite a wide shot, which means we've got a lot to think about, composition wise. So thinking about the lens we're using, why don't we switch to a zoom lens, because then we can sort of isolate more and position things in the frame more. So that's the tip one. Think about our lens focal length. So this shot behind, let me explain this shot and why I think isolation would be quite good for it. As you can see, this shot behind me is one of those traditional isolation tree shots on a hill, and you'd think a nice wide angle might be good here, but there's a lot of elements. There's trees over there, there's two rows of trees next to each other. We could pair them up in a wide angle, yeah. But I think if we're going to pair things up, pair them up in threes would be better. So again, I think isolation would work well here. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my camera out and I'm going to demonstrate how I'm going to isolate that with my zoom lens. I've got a 100 to 400 lens. That's quite a big zoom for a landscape shot, but it could be interesting. Okay, I've set up the tripod. I've got a 100 to 400 lens, and it's zoomed right back, so it's at 100 millimeters at the moment. So Insta, I'm hoping it's showing you what I'm looking at here, and Insta's got quite a wide angle look, so you can see what it looks like on a wide angle. So what I've done is I've isolated that chunk of trees, and I've got the horizon level and all the usual stuff, but I've isolated that trees should I say, on their own. So I'm just going to take a picture. It's on a 10-second timer, and we'll see how that comes out. Okay, it's probably not a award-winning shot, but what I'm trying to demonstrate is isolation, and how I've isolated that chunk of trees, and it's prominent in the shot, which means because you've got something prominent in the shot, the eye goes straight to it, sort of thing. I haven't got a lot of sky, and I've got a reasonable amount of grass, so I basically tailored the shot to how I want it because I've isolated. Where if I was on a wide angle, I would have a lot of sky and a lot of grass. It's a lot more difficult. So thinking about what lens we're using, we don't always have to use that wide angle lens. We can just use a zoom lens, and I'll tell you what is good. When you buy a camera, you come with a kit lens, and normally that's got like a zoom on it, so you can get started on this straight away with your kit lens. This one came with, I believe, a 24 to 105 kit lens. So yeah, So that's focal length. Let's move on to tip number 2. Okay, tip number 2 is quite an easy one as well. Normally when we arrive on a scene like this, we get our tripod out straight away and we put it on the tripod and we're raring to go. You've got the shot in mind. But what you want to do is resist that temptation of getting your tripod out like I did for the tip number 1. So tip number 2 is keep your camera off the tripod just for a little bit. Come to your scene and have a look. So that's the shot I had in mind. It'd be better at a different time of day, but that's the shot I had in mind. So now what I should be doing is walking around and trying to find a really good angle. So that last shot I was doing a sort of this height and looking on the back of my view screen, I can sort of see the sort of shot that I want. This is 100 mil, and I can see it's filling the frame. But maybe I could find myself a better spot. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have a little walk around with the camera and see if I can find better angles to improve the composition. So yeah, so off the tripod, sort of handheld, loose shooting, and see what looks good. Find the best angle. Okay, so I've had a little walk around. There's not a lot to look at here, so so I do what I can. Now, walking around there, I figured out that the lower down I am on this slope seems to be the best option. The sky is not very exciting. It would be great if it was dramatic, but I can always replace the sky. So I've got that in the back of my mind as well when I'm looking at these angles. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the tripod now, put it really low, and get that sort of quite low, so I've got the upward look to that tree, and I think that'll work out a lot better. And I could only discover that by walking around with the camera in my hand and just experimenting with different views. I also got a shot where I had both clusters of trees in each end of the shot and a big gap in the middle. That'd be great for a website graphic with a dramatic sky. Yeah, you could use it on a website or an advert. So that could be some stock footage there, stock footage photos. So there are options here, and I wouldn't have seen that if I wasn't walking around with the camera. So I'm going to set the tripod up and we're going to take that shot. Okay, so what I've done is I've lowered the tripod down as far as I can with this tripod, and don't forget I've got that mount on it as well, which raises it, that ball head, gear head should I say. So let me turn the camera on, and what we'll do is start lining this shot up like so. Sort the focusing out. There we go. Now I want to work out, make sure I've got the horizon level, the usual stuff. There we go. Like so. I'm at about f.6, so I am thinking about the f-stop as well, and it all looks good, so I'm going to take a picture there, and we can sort of compare this with the last picture I took with the tripod higher. There we go. Always take one for luck as well, because the light is slightly changing. I think a 10-second timer might be a bit long. Okay, so there we have it. hopefully I'm showing you the picture on the screen. We've got more, it's more low down to the ground, so we're getting more of that grass texture coming into play, and the actual shot. What I'm going to do is take that other shot where I had both of them, both ends of the trees sort of coming into shot, because I think that'll make a good website graphic that I might want to use later on. So let's go and set that up. Coming in either side of the shot. I've got a bit of grass there, so I'm just going to take that picture. I have focused it. 6.3 f-stop. Okay, good. And what I'm thinking I might have too much grass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise it up to give me more of that plain looking sky. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm thinking of the web graphic. So I've got more text area. Okay. And we'll take another picture. Brilliant. And that's it, job done. So I wouldn't have got to this point if I didn't walk around freely with the camera. So that pays off. Let's move on to the next tip, the last tip, step 3. Yeah, what you're looking at there behind me is where the sunrise, that's the direction of sunrise. Still a little bit red. You've got a little tiny bit of sunrisey colours, but we did miss sunrise. But I was going to point that out because this tip is all about light. So we need to think about utilising light, which means time of day as well and things like that. You've probably heard it all before, but it is really important. I'm not an early bird, especially with my health conditions. I find it hard to get up before sunrise and be at a location just an hour before and all that. So I get it, I really do understand it. But in this location, for example, you wouldn't really want to come here at sunrise because look in that direction, there's just nothing worth really picturing unless you're just after an urban landscape, because you are sort of overlooking houses rather than up at them, so it's got that going for it. But other than that, sunrise here is not very good. So yeah, so we were talking about light, but there's more to light than just sunrises and sunsets. What we're looking at is contrast, colour, what it's doing to the environment, how it's making the trees stand out more, side lighting, top lighting, backlighting. It's all there. You sort of go forever trying to imagine scenarios. Let me turn us round and I'll show you another scene from the same location. I'm going to turn us round. Here we go, and hopefully I'll get you planted in the right spot. But that there is sunset. In that general direction is where the sun sets here. So that's local knowledge, I suppose. I'm sure that you know where sunrise and sunset is. So here might be a good shot because you've got like all the woody looking trees at sunset, especially if you get that nice fiery sky. That might come out pretty good. So already you're thinking about the light and the time of day, but you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to come out at those times. And let me explain why. Okay, well, I've practically hinted at it already. Because we're thinking about our shots more of isolation, thinking about light becomes really fun. and you can do a lot with it. Unfortunately today the sun's not out for me to truly demonstrate it, but you're going to get the general idea. So let me just show you. I'll have to find something fairly interesting, and then I'll explain to you what I'm talking about. Okay, I found a subject. It's not the best subject in the world. It's not like a wild flower. It's just a berry. But I think it would demonstrate what I'm talking about utilizing light. In this case, I'm going to utilize the light, even though it's not direct sun and everything. I'm going to utilize it as backlight and to show you how you can use it. I mean, you probably know this already, but I thought I'd just show it to demonstrate for those of us who haven't really thought about it much. So I'm going to put the camera on video mode because it'd be better to show you through the lens. Now I am using a 100mm lens. This would be better for a close-up lens, more close-up lens like a macro or something. But I'll make it work. So let's do that. Let me move you around so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you're not going to fall over. Not the best tripod in the world, I'm afraid. Live and learn. I'll bring my proper tripod out next time. I thought this one would be lighter. Anyway, so I'm going to try and utilise this berry. I can't even see it. Way too close. I might have to change the lens for this one. Okay, video mode, here we go. Now I am recording, so I'm hoping you can see what I'm after. I'm moving the camera to try and get that light right behind it, sort of thing. And now I would take a picture. Let me go switch to picture mode, and we'll try and get a picture out of this. I've got the bloody timer on. 10-second timer, handheld. Not good. So I think you get the general idea of what I'm talking about. I'm going to take off that timer for a minute, and we'll try that again. So there we go. We got the focus there. I'm trying to get it so that sticks out in the light there. There we go. Look at that. Brilliant. So that's backlit, but you can also do front lit, and you just simply walk around your subject. It's so simple. And now that's actually looking a lot brighter in my shots. I can see it already. Let me switch to video mode so you can see, and we'll try and get that again, but where the light is actually on it. Here we go. So I'm recording there now. Brilliant. You can see it's more lit up. You can really see the difference. It's not so dark and silhouette-y. So let me switch to camera mode. There we go. I'm going to take the f-stop down as well because I want it more. There we go. So it's more dark now, but if I move it just so it's not got black behind it, there we go. So just target the thing again. Now move it so we've got black behind it. So that's basically using light. Not the best example, but you get the idea. And you can do that with landscapes as well, because the light will be shining either full onto the trees, you know, the sun behind you, or if the sun's in front of you, you're going to get like the silhouette effect. Light to the side, you're going to get more contrast and more definition in your shot. So basically thinking about the light is quite important. Yeah. So there you have it. That's your 3 tips. Now they sound simple on principle, but if it's not something you do regularly, it's easy to forget it. So you need to make it become a habit. So you want to keep that sort of in the back of your mind all the time, and you'll find your shots dramatically improve because you're thinking about it all a lot more. So yeah, so we've got to think about your lens, your focal length. You want to isolate, pick out your objects. Would you want that big vista, that wide angle? And think about the pros and cons of each. And then we got keeping the camera handheld on your first arrival, because you might find that golden shot that you wouldn't have found if it was stuck on a tripod anchored down. I've got to stop walking. So, oh, excuse me. If your tripod's anchored, you're not going to want to take it off and then move around. Keep it off to start with and try and find that perfect angle. And at the same time, whilst you're doing that, you could be thinking about the light. How's the light affecting the plants, the trees, the object around you? How can you make it better by changing position? Height, for example, is another one. Changes the look of the light on the subject. So those three things, you sort of make that your go-to. I reckon it'll make your shots a lot better. You don't have to use a kick-ass camera either. Not that this is a kick-ass camera. You can use your mobile. Yeah. Oh, this exercise is killing me. Anyway, if you liked what you heard, please press the like and subscribe. All helps the channel grow. I really do need to get to at least 500. That'd be great with your help. Punch the old subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next one. Yeah.